cancellation at the back. Uh,
Yeah, cool. Another one is sensitivity is a reading at what frequency? Is it?
sensitivity is what?
Is it is a reading at what frequency?
It would be the average. Naval, correct me if I'm wrong. It's the average sensitivity in the passband that you're measuring, right?
Correct. Yeah. So it's the 3 dB down points either end.
Yeah, 3 dB points either end. So whatever the passband, जो आपका passband frequency response में है, where you're seeing that this is the intended application, and from the top level where it's where it's coming down by 3 dB is that level is the sensitivity that they refer to. Again, I can share the it's all given in the EES standard paper that what you're supposed to measure, how you're supposed to measure. So I think Naval, correct me if I'm wrong. For power measurements, you would be using in an anechoic chamber in an unmounted condition, but for frequency measurements, you would be mounting it on a baffle. Is that correct?
For a base unit?
Yes.
Yeah, for a base unit, it's measured. The parameters are measured in free air, and the response is measured in the anechoic chamber, semi-anechoic chamber.
Yeah, so the SPL would be measured on a baffle when the speaker is mounted in a baffle, right?
Yes.
So yeah, so when you measure the SPL is mounted on a baffle, and then for high frequency drivers, it would be on a plane wave tube. Is that correct?
Yeah, mostly on the plane wave, on the compression drivers, we do two. One on the plane wave tube and one on a typical horn. But of course, the difficulty with a typical horn is your idea of a typical horn is different to the next guy's.
Correct. So
the plane wave tube compares directly with other models that we make and other manufacturers' models.
So HF driver, yeah. So HF driver के लिए उसका measurement plane wave tube पे करते हैं या एक उनके standard horn पे करते हैं, and they mention that it's measured on a plane wave tube or on a horn. Speaker is on a baffle and आपने anechoic chamber. Has everyone seen the anechoic chamber? Because if you want, I can show it, because I know that there are more participants now than compared to what it was when I showed it. So if anyone wants to see the anechoic chamber, I'm more than happy to run.
I think we can do it maybe at the end. I can come back to it. Just one or two more if you want to take it now, or you can.
Yeah,
there's one which says
now because you're changing subject altogether.
The topic, yeah. So other one is that how come we don't see too many passive radiators used in Pro Audio?
So passive radiator is again something that Naval, would you want to elaborate on much on passive radiators?
They do give you a bit more low frequency, but it requires a bigger box, more careful tuning.
Yeah, that's correct. You need more careful tuning.
And something we didn't touch on in the base unit section, but you get the benefits, or a lot of the benefits of a passive radiator you'd get from an active high pass system.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's common where you are.
Yeah, I mean, there are no, again, I see passive radiators being used mainly in home and hi-fi applications a lot, where the intended, I think even for that matter, Naval, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you can get a lot more output in your, a well-designed vented enclosure or a horn-loaded enclosure compared to, compared to a passive, a box with a passive radio. Is that, would that make sense?
Correct. Yeah, you don't get these passive radiators are not very efficient, not very loud.
Yeah, it's not very efficient.
Well, a hi-fi system that's 85 dB.
Yeah. So when you're listening on a hi-fi in your home environment, you don't need to generate 130 and 140 dB SPL. Yeah, it's in a very close, it's in a very small environment. But the minute you go outdoor, you're standing near a subwoofer, you're getting anything between 130 and 140 dB SPL, and a passive radiator, you need that SPL because you're covering large distances. You have the inverse square law effect where you're coming down 6 dB per doubling of distance, and you want to make sure you want to make the cabinet as efficient and as loud as possible.
Cool. Another interesting one is that in a three-way system where you have three components with different sensitivities, then how do they calculate the sensitivity of the entire system, or how is that specified?
No, so every component in a three-way system, it would be all would be level matched. I mean, if they're specifying the sensitivity of the system, it would be the sensitivity of no three-way system would have the HF being 6 dB above the MF range or something like that. But it would pretty much be in a region where they have a flat passband, and then seeing the minus 3 dB points of compared to the peak and saying that this is where my average sensitivity lies. But if it's about individual components, then you're using your crossover or your gain reduction methods or your resistors to bring down the higher sensitivity products to the level of the lower sensitivity products. So you have a more matched or sometimes, for example, आपका जो two-way box है, like something like a double 15 and HF, you're using two woofers to kind of increase the output of the low end, because the HF is anyways at a good 100 plus dB SPL, whereas the woofers are maybe 95, 96 dB. So you want to bump it up a little. And when you're using two woofers, you can get the SPL higher, and that's when you're getting a level match. But
then when they mention the sensitivity of the entire box, it is measured after all that. Basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then, of course, there are, like, for example, if we go into individual, I know that JBL, so let me exit this and let me open my browser. So I'm just going to quickly open a JBL Vertec 4889, for example. And if I try and look at the specification sheet, and where is the specification sheet? Download specifications. So you can see it's written here 99 dB is on the LF, 102 dB on the MF, and 116 at the HF. And so they mention usually, a good
of each thing, yeah.
Of each thing, and then one of the if you see the actual max SPL again, a liner is mentioned as maybe 147 dB SPL, max SPL, but that's probably only the HF part that's going to about 147, 148. Maybe the MF is staying around 142. So you're not going to get 147 unless you treat the HF as a separate component. But on a spec sheet, it looks great. That's what, is this thing. So if I have, let me see, and it's with every manufacturer. I came across a Martin, is there a spec sheet? Okay, fine. Let me see the spec sheet. Okay, let me try and open this. So I think I downloaded. Okay, fine. It's just downloading. So it's just going to show you the max SPL. On a general basis, they'll see the max SPL on my box is 147, or 148 or 149. But okay, let me open this. So let me zoom in and see. So it's mentioned the maximum peak output is between 138 to 146 dB SPL. That doesn't mean that it has a mode that sometimes it'll give you 138 to 146. And then is it mentioned separately? But I don't know. I know that. So it's 138 is more realistically what you would expect out of a peak SPL out of an LF driver, and 146 would be typically not out of one HF, but out of like a couple of them, or 2 or 3 of them would be what this would expect out of maybe a single one. Maybe 137, 138 is normal, and maybe using 3 of them, you would be getting 146 maybe. So, but if they do a comparison, maybe the sales guys would say, hey, this liner is 145 dB SPL, I'm 146. But again, trust your ears. Don't go. Of course, there are a lot of, I've seen a lot of boxes and a lot of companies mentioning a very high value. And then, for example, there's one subwoofer by Martin, and they claim to be 150 dB SPL on the subs. And I somehow find it hard to believe. And that's what they've been using to market it. And there has to be some analysis where people have to be like, I need to kind of hear it to believe that, is it actually louder, or is it just a specification in some specialized condition, or like those, how they used to publish those Sony systems and Aiwa systems saying my music system, my composite music system is 5,000 watts, and then you write PMPO, and then you get into PMPO, and you like 5,000 watts. Oh wow, that's great.
Okay, and just if you stay on this page, actually, someone asked a question responding to that. Like, you see that you have the frequency range and a frequency response.
Yeah.
So what exactly is the difference, and which one should you consider, for example, when you're setting a crossover point or something?
So frequency range is just saying that it's operating between this frequency, and it's considering a minus dB point, a 10 dB point. So it's basically, if I just annotate something on this paper directly, is nothing but, let's say, this line and another line out here. And let's say I have, let me just use a free tool and a different color with a thinner line to maybe make it okay. So maybe the minus 3 dB, or maybe I should make it a little thicker. Hold on. So maybe the minus 10 dB point would be somewhere around here, which they say, okay, this is my frequency range that it operates in. And then it says, okay, but my frequency, frequency response is always considered 3 dB point from the passband. So maybe my frequency response is, oh, sorry, not maybe here, but maybe somewhere here. So maybe the pink, जो आपका pink है, is probably a frequency response. That is actually minus 3 dB point. But
I think if you
my system
go
is still
down, it'll show the graph actually. On GDL. If you scroll down, it'll show the graph.
Okay, sorry, yeah, that's a valid point. I just try to do too many things by myself. So it's if you see the frequency, the combined frequency response graph here, let me just try and zoom in. And so probably minus 10 dB. So this is about 0. The minus 10 is about here. And let's just try and see how we read the, so this is your minus 10 dB point, which is somewhere here. And here. And then if I use maybe minus 3 dB is somewhere around here. And maybe.
So basically it's a standard, it's a standard term. So frequency range is.
It's not a hard and fast rule, but usually the frequency range is frequency response. They usually consider between 3 minus dB points. So
minus, okay.
Whenever, and frequency range is they can say it's still, now even if it's minus 20 dB, you still have some, so you can still say I'm 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz, and not mention as to what is the attenuation at those frequencies. So it doesn't matter really, but frequency response usually is always considered. And again, a good manufacturer would specify what is the attenuation they're expecting. So what we saw here, like this would be maybe the minus 10 dB point is maybe 20, 30, 40. So somewhere around 40 hertz would be the minus 10 dB point, and minus 3 dB point would be probably maybe around 55 or something like that. So, and then.
Okay, I think that kind of, I mean, there are a few more, but I don't want to eat up too much time into amplifiers. So I think we can move into the amplifier part, and then at the end, take a few more.
Okay, so I'm going to quickly run through because we have only 30 minutes. So I'm going to try and keep this as brief and this thing as possible. And again, it's electronics. ये बहुत electronics के बारे में, so I don't want to get too deep, just understanding specifications. So आपका amplifier जो है, it's just to briefly go through that. आपका जो output from microphones है, guitar है. So just to give you guys a heads up, a microphone works in the same way as a loudspeaker. A loudspeaker, you're feeding current and it's producing force. A microphone is the reverse. So आपके microphone में आप बात करें, आपके बात करने के pressure से there's a diaphragm, or there's a, in condenser there's a plate that is changing the capacitance between, there's a small diaphragm changing the capacitance between, and that's sending an electrical pulse. Or there's a very small lightweight magnet, बहुत सा हल्का magnet hai, which is moving up and down the minute you speak, and that goes, it produces a small voltage, and that voltage gets goes to these have to go to they're very small values, right? They are millivolts of like minus 20 dBu, or very very small signals that come out of a microphone या guitar pickup या कोई भी आपके instrument या कुछ भी आप pick up कर रहे हैं CD player से. And then line level signals is, when we talk about line level signals, is again something that we're talking in the range of between about half a volt to about 2 volts is what we are doing talking about line level. And that is the input that we expect to go to a power amplifier. The power amplifier takes only line level input. So this is done by pre-amplifier, जो आपके mixer में आपके pre-amplifier जो आपका input operational amplifiers है. This is taking the pickup from the microphone guitar pickup and kind of raising the level and amplifying it to maybe 1 or 2 volts, suitable for power amplifiers. So, and then there's no specific definition of a power amplifier, but usually I like to consider, मैं usually consider करता हूँ जो भी amplifier 100 watt के ऊपर deliver करता है is something that I consider a power amplifier. There's no fixed definition. If there is, I'm more than happy to learn about it if some of you guys have it. But it's just amplifying and delivering more power. So a high quality power amplifier is transparent. जो आपका एक अच्छा amplifier है वो transparent है. जो आपका output है वो input का exact replica है. So this is an exact replica of the input, and it's just giving you higher amplitude. It's just giving you more power. So that's the only change that should be introduced by a good power amplifier. So difference between output and input is distortion. अगर आपके output और input के बीच में कुछ नया आया, we'll consider that as distortion. We're not going to it's not something that we want. But again, there are some applications where distortion is like guitar amps for that matter, but distortion is musical, and it's introduced to kind of, there are valve amps and different kind of amps that are used to kind of make it sonically more fun. Not something for that you can guitar amp ko pro audio application mein use nahi kar sakte, but just giving a brief run through. So again, like I explained, an amplifier and loudspeaker is the most common block of any audio chain. आपके घर के amplifier में karaoke system, a live performance, a DJ set, an amplifier and a loudspeaker is by far, something, even as you may say a loudspeaker cabinet, but then what about ceiling speaker? Ceiling speaker is one application where you're just taking a speaker and mounting in the ceiling. So there's no cabinet involved. It's just an amplifier and a loudspeaker. So the basic building block of anything, आपका सबसे basic building block, मतलब खाना बनाने के टाइम ये एकदम जो क्या बोलते हैं धनिया लहसुन, और it's that elementary, and how complicated it is. We've seen already how complicated it can get. And then again, a good performance, reliability, construction, these factors go into making a good high quality power amplifier. It's not just one thing. So I'm going to try and get into different amplifier classes so that everyone understands. What specification sheets में आता है कि we're using class A, class B, class AB, class G, class H, class T, class D. Everyone comes up with different classes, and it's not something that's like different classrooms of a school or something that, this is division A, division B, but basically this is something that's universally used. Class A, basically, what you see is a sine wave out here. This is a complete sine wave. In a class A amplifier, what you're actually doing is your amplifier is conducting continuously over the entire input cycle. So आपका input cycle है, it's conducting throughout the entire cycle. आपका is going from 0 to positive, down to 0, down to negative, back to positive. आपका amplifier is conducting this throughout this entire cycle. There is all the components remain on. So the problem with it is that, of course, you're using 100% of your input and output, but it's not very efficient, because even if you're not providing any output or input, your amplifier is continuously in the on state, and it's continuously dissipating everything in the form of heat. So it's not something that people is a very efficient, although some old enthusiasts still say that it's one of the is the best sounding amplifier, and that kind of thing. But I've not really compared something a class A amplifier with other amplifier classes that exist as of today. But I mean, I'm more than happy to check class A amplifiers, but a lot of home enthusiasts and all just swear by them, saying there's the I've actually written that it's considered by many as the gold standard. So again, in a class B amplifier, does anyone want that in Hindi? अच्छा, class A amplifier में क्या होता है कि आपका जो amplifier है वो पूरे input cycle के लिए use होता है. From जैसे ही आपका input signal 0 to peak जाता है, back to 0, back to negative peak, आपका output stage continuously conducting है. And for those of you who are interested, I can show you. Okay, just let me show a brief, very, very brief thing. So let me clear the text and just tell you briefly what is exactly happening. So don't get too confused again. I'm just showing you basically a normal amplifier characteristics. And let's say this is your transfer function of your amplifier. And let's say your input is, I'm going to draw a small input level. So let's say this is my input level, and there is a something known as the Q point, which is the center. So let me just mark it at a different level. So let me different color. So let's say this is a Q point. So this Q point is somewhere at the center, and for those who know, this is your collector emitter voltage, and down here would be your base emitter voltage of a normal transistor. And then as this is actually coming to your response characteristic out here, this is going to then translate into, on the output is going to translate into a much bigger sine wave of let me kind of draw this is. So this Q point, this black point, जो आपने ये black point दिया था, it's kind of moving continuously in a positive and negative cycle, and it kind of varies for different amplifier classes. उसका position, उसका again, it's a brief. It's I can, for those interested, we can discuss on this separately, but I don't want to. I want to just get back to my presentation so we don't go off center. So आपका जो class A amplifier is conducting throughout the whole cycle. It's all your output stages are being used continuously. आपका continuously आपका garam heat is continuously being dissipated. So it's something that is a very inefficient way that we are seeing out here of conduction, that we are seeing that the efficiency is only in the range of 15 to 35%. इसके साथ हम class B पे जाते हैं. Class B में you have, as you can see, there are two portions of a transistor or even a field effect transistor or bipolar junction transistor. At any given point is only one part which is conducting. आप देख सकते हैं या तो ये red part is conducting or the green part is conducting. So at any given point, you're having just one power portion of your signal which is conducting. Now, because of this, you have greater efficiency. The efficiency goes up drastically because at any given time, only half of your output stage is actually conducting. So much lesser heat, whatever you've designed your heat for. And of course, theoretical efficiency is much more, is around 78%, but we get somewhere around 50 to 60% is more realistic. इसका ये advantage आपको बहुत advantages लगेगा, but इतना popular नहीं है, क्योंकि जैसे ये positive से negative cycle पे जाते हैं, you can see that is introducing जो ये input is having an undistorted input, and the minute it goes from positive to negative, it's having this, जैसे ये switch होता है, ये crossover होता है एक output stage से दूसरे output stage तक, it's having some crossover distortion that is coming into play. And then something that we have is the class AB amplifier, which is kind of combining the benefits of class A and class B both together. So उसका conduction cycle जो है सिर्फ आधे cycle के लिए नहीं है, but आधे से थोड़ा ज़्यादा है. और वापस efficiency उसका 50 से 70% तक efficiency in the real world, and it's gets rid of crossover distortion because it's conducting for more than half a cycle. आधे cycle से ज़्यादा ये conduct कर रहा है, and it's avoiding excess heat generation because at any given point it's more or less only half the components actually providing amplification. So उसके आगे आता है class G amplifier. Class G amplifier is nothing but a variation of a class AB amplifier. Again, class AB is very popular. In a lot of our products like HP15A, we use the class AB amplifier in smaller signal amplifier modules, like something like 300, 400 watts. Like for example, the HP15A for us, हमारे लिए is one of the biggest selling active plastic cabinets, and I think it's the biggest selling active plastic speaker box in the whole country. We sell about maybe 6,000 to 7,000. I think is what we record. We were expecting to probably hit 8,000 or 9,000, but during this whole coronavirus slowdown, it kind of the whole February, March, it came down. But HP15 जो हमारा बहुत से high selling plastic cabinet है, we use a class AB amplifier in that as well. It delivers 400 watts for the low frequency part, and 60 watts for the high frequency. And a lot of ICs are also available. We use the 7261 IC. Different cabinet manufacturers use different ICs. It's TD8954 and a lot of ICs that you can get, because ICs is to use ICs as of today, as of in lower power ranges is not so bad, but the minute you go into the extreme high, the advantage हमारे power amplifier के domain में हमारा advantage क्या है कि we still use discrete components primarily in a lot of our amplifiers, because it's the minute you go very high in power, it's dealing with a lot of current, and you need multiple transistors, and ICs can't handle it. So most of these classes, from now on, the class G or something. So what class G basically does, I want to finish this quickly. Class G में क्या होता है कि इसके अलग-अलग rail voltage है. So if your input is not demanding a higher rail voltage, so अलग-अलग rail voltage है. Maybe out here you see a 35 rail voltage and a 70 volt rail voltage. तो आपके अलग-अलग output stages पे अलग-अलग rail voltage है. अगर आपका input signal छोटा है, तो it's just going to be using the smaller rail voltage, and as a signal keeps increasing and your demand for power goes up, it keeps switching the rail. So it's a small variation of the class AB amplifier, and low demand condition system uses a lower rail voltage and compare it a class AB amplifier. तो उसका power consumption वापस और significantly कम हो जाता है. As high power conditions arise, the systems dynamically increase rail voltage to handle high amplitude transients. So again, the previous rail switching design used bipolar transistors to control the output rails, increasing complexity and cost. And this is something that we had, it was one kind of amplifier that we did. Now, ye class A, class B, class G, it's not something that's named after someone. There is a class C as well, but I don't think it's used in audio at all. It's more non-audio based for signal transmission application. So there's class A, class B, class C. There's also class D, which we'll come to again. And again, this is class H, which is quite popular. The difference between class G and class G के अलग-अलग rail voltage है. Class H में सिर्फ हमारा जो it's tracking the rail voltage to vary the rail voltage to a certain value. So typically in some of our amplifiers that we sell, we have two rails, which is one of them is, I think it goes up to maybe 30 volts, and the other rail is going up to almost 80 volts. So 35 and 80 is what some of our amplifiers use as, and it's more like a rail tracking or rail modulation, like I've written out here, is uska rail voltage modulate kar raha hai to increase the rail voltage rather than switching to different rails. And most of you guys who would have serviced the amplifier, you would have seen that there are two from the transformer. There's something going to the capacitors, and आपके capacitors में rectification के बाद अलग-अलग दो rail voltage आके आपके module में दो अलग-अलग terminals पे हम लोग voltage देते हैं. So it's actually just two different rail voltages, and it's easy to identify. It's more like a class H design. And again, it's using MOSFETs to control output rails to further improve efficiency. Heat कम करने के लिए. Disadvantage is the cost is higher. इसका cost जो है class S का just goes up a little. And then we have class D, which is increasingly growing popular. Class D में क्या होता है? You have a triangular wave generator, and it's using it on your input signal. तो आपका जो input signal है, it is using or superimposing your high frequency generator, and इसका जो width है, you can see the width of the on-off state. So basically this, it's a triangular wave generator, but the width of the wave, it's called basically a duty cycle. Only to signify the magnitude, आपके magnitude का signify करने के लिए, it is increasing and decreasing the width. So that's why it's called PWM, pulse width. So they are, ये सब triangles एक तरीके के pulses है, which is coming to your input. आपका input की तरफ एक pulses, और जैसे वो pulses का width जो है वो चौड़ा और एकदम कम होते जाता है आपके amplifier के signal strength के ऊपर. So as you can see, it's increasing, the pulse width is going up, and as it's coming down, उसका pulse width कम होते जा रहा है. Now, the problem that we encounter in this triangular wave in a class D amplifier is ये जो हमारा high frequency, for example, you could, अगर आपका ये pulse generator का frequency, maybe it could be maybe 100 kilohertz, for example. Your audio frequency is up to 20 kilohertz, and this is taking pulses at 100 kilohertz. So ये 100 kilohertz जो है ये output की तरफ superimposed है. Now when it's superimposed on the output, you want to filter it out. आपको ये filter पूरा करना है. तो again, we've used filters like inductors in series and capacitors and something like that to kind of make a low pass filter. And if it's not well designed, अगर आपका output stage, आपका जो filter आप देख सकते हैं end में हमने एक low pass filter use किया है, that is to remove the carrier frequency. If it is not well designed, it increases your source impedance quite a bit. तो आपका जो source impedance, जो हम we'll come to source impedance and damping factor, but it increases source impedance quite a bit, which is a result that sometimes आपको लगता है कि ये class D amplifier में आपको इतना punch नहीं मिलता है. A lot of people say the punch I get out of conventional class H amplifiers or using a linear power supply is more than if I'm using an SMPS supply or a class D amplifier. And one of the major reasons is the output stage जो है is having a low pass filter, which is increasing the source impedance of your amplifier. And just to go through some points, okay, so it's not necessarily triangular square wave with frequency that's significantly higher than the highest frequency component of the input waveform. तो आपका input waveform का जो frequency उसके comparison में काफी बड़ा frequency हम use करते हैं to generate this a square wave, and it's running between saturation and cutoff. So basically इसका on-off state या तो on है या तो off है. So the efficiency is extremely high. और उसका width जो मैंने जैसे कि मैं बताया, उसका पल्स का जो width है it varies. उसका उसका चौड़ाई जो है या तो इनपुट सिग्नल का वैल्यू उसके लेवल के ऊपर पल्स width जो उसका पल्स का है उसका width चेंज होता है. And at the amplifier output, a low pass filter removes this switching frequency. जो हमने बड़ा high frequency use किया है, the amplifier output is kind of using cutting off the higher frequencies and trying to eliminate it. There are other problems associated, but let's not get too much into detail. With FETs operating either in cutoff or saturation, losses come primarily from the transistor's forward voltage drops. These amps can achieve 90% efficiency. I'm not going to get into too much of the losses and everything, but इसका जो efficiency है काफी ज़्यादा efficient amplifier है. And class D amplifiers are बहुत बार आप देखेंगे, most of the time they use in conjunction with a power supply, switch mode power supply, and I'll just talk about switch mode power supply shortly. इसके बारे में ये हमारा जो class D amplifier बहुत बार switch mode power supply के साथ use किया जाता है. And the main weight or the main heat जो हमारा analog power supply output stage है या digital output stage, you can इसकी वजह से efficiency काफी ज़्यादा है, heat काफी कम हो जाता है. So you need much smaller heat sink. आप देखेंगे जो class D के amplifier में आपका heat sink काफी छोटा होता है. And again, power supply, the main weight of the amplifier is from the transformer. So अगर हम पावर सप्लाई को ट्रांसफार्मर निकाल के एक डिजिटल पावर सप्लाई डालेंगे जो एक स्विच मोड पावर सप्लाई है, उसमें वेट काफ़ी कम हो जाता है। तो हीट सिंक कम करने के बाद और ट्रांसफार्मर कम करने के बाद वेट काफ़ी कम हो जाता है। इसकी वजह से दैट्स व्हाई यू हैव क्लास D amplifiers with SMPS power supplies quite low in weight. So, and again, this is a brief comparison of linear versus switch mode power supply. जो आपका power supply है, transformer use करेंगे या digital, it's just comparing both of them. So, जो आपका SMPS पावर सप्लाई है, ये वापस एक स्विचिंग रेगुलेटर यूज करता है आपका पावर अपने AC मेन से अपने लोड को सप्लाई करने के लिए. It's using again a switching regulator to convert all your electrical power efficiently from AC source to mains. Again वो SMPS में एक पास ट्रांजिस्टर है जो या तो ऑन या ऑफ स्टेट में स्टेट चेंज करता है. एंड इसकी वजह से जो सिर्फ कंडक्शन टाइम के टाइम जब आपको आउटपुट पावर चाहिए तभी आपके पावर सप्लाई को पावर को डिलीवर करता है, विच इज इंक्रीजिंग द एफिशिएंसी ग्रेटली. एंड जो आपका लीनियर पावर जो लीनियर सप्लाई है जैसे कि ट्रांसफार्मर है, it's regulating the output voltage by continuously dissipating power in the pass transformer and the transistor. तो आपका जो आप 230 volt AC देंगे, so it's kind of continuously dissipating power somewhere in the resistors and storing that charge in your capacitors for various reasons on a rectification level to it's not as efficient as your SMPS supply. लीनियर रेगुलेटर लीनियर जो आपका ट्रांसफार्मर पावर सप्लाई है आपके क्लास D एम्पलीफायर्स में बहुत कम यूज होता है. खाली ऑक्सिलरी वोल्टेज के लिए हम यूज करते हैं, कुछ बायसिंग वोल्टेज जनरेट करने के लिए शायद यूज करते हैं, बहुत रेयरली हम लोग यूज करते हैं. वी डोंट यूज अ लीनियर पावर सप्लाई विद अ क्लास D एम्पलीफायर टू ऑफन. एंड अगेन लाइक आई मेंशन, एम्पलीफायर पावर रेटिंग के अलग अलग एम्पलीफायर में अलग अलग तरीके. देयर इज ऑल्सो अंडर राइटर्स लेबोरेटरी, देयर इज UL, there's Canada Systems Association, there's a CSA power rating. Let's just talk about the main two power ratings that are there. One is the Federal Trade Commission. उन्होंने कहा है कि in which the device is tested with both channels driven. जो आपके एम्पलीफायर का जितने भी चैनल है, अगर आपके एम्पलीफायर में 4 चैनल है तो 4 चैनल ड्राइव करके it's put through its advertised frequency range. So अगर आपका एम्पलीफायर पावर है XYZ from 20 Hz to 20 kilohertz, is going to run that signal. आपका एक pink noise signal generate run करेगा and एक power resistor use करेगा. So they're going to use a power resistor or it's going to mention अगर उन्होंने लिखा है कि this is the power at let's say 2.1% or let's say 1% harmonic distortion. So distortion, they're going to make sure that distortion is not more than 1%. And how they measure distortion and all is again another is something I can share with you guys. But it'll ensure that the distortion is not more than 1% and it'll measure the voltage across the resistor. Abhi resistor is not an exact replication of a speaker. आपने देखा है कि speaker एक coil की तरह है. Coil is working in a magnetic field. But many people use a capacitor across a resistor, but almost everyone I know uses just a big, एक बड़ा resistor use करते हैं जैसे कि 2000 watt या 3000 watt का resistor and of different impedance 4 ohm या 8 ohm या अलग-अलग impedance का resistor use करके they apply a pink noise of maybe 20 Hz to 20 kilohertz and measure the overall output voltage at that this thing. Electronic Industries Association वो determine करता है कि 1 kilohertz पे आप signal wave करें और with 1% का distortion level और 1% clipping allowed है, मतलब जो clipping की तरफ से generate होता है. और इसकी वजह से you'll see that always the EIA rating method gives you almost 10 to 20% higher than the FTC method. So you'll always see an EIA rating is giving a little higher power rating to the amplifier. आपका amplifier power rating EIA method में हमेशा थोड़ा ज़्यादा होएगा 10 से 20% तक. And अगर आप actual amplifier use करें और you use a signal generator and you sweep the signal from let's say 1 kilohertz, you bring it down maybe to 100 hertz, आप देखेंगे आपका output voltage कुछ 4 या 5 वोल्ट से कम होगा. And it's something common that I've seen in almost all amplifiers that deal with large signal currents. And again, there's something known as Audio Precision, जो एक बहुत अच्छा, one of the leading manufacturers of Audio Precision. It manufactures power. So what you see is on the bottom scale, we've just compared one with our amplifier with a competitor's amplifier, which is having a similar power rating mentioned on a specification sheet. And if I am to annotate this, if I just bring out इसके अगर मैं annotate करूं और आपको दिखाऊं, यहाँ 1 EI power rating पे हम मेंशन करते हैं कि 1% हार्मोनिक डिस्टॉर्शन, जो लेफ्ट साइड पे है वो हार्मोनिक डिस्टॉर्शन है और जो नीचे है वो पावर लेवल है. तो ये आप देख सकते हैं 8 ओम के लोड के ऊपर वी आर गेटिंग बेसिकली 1200 and another amplifier, and again we've the same amplifier, to be honest, we published the power as 1400 watts. I'm not going to lie to you, and it's again done taking some harmonic distortion and all into consideration, and that's the reason हमने mention नहीं किया. But the same another manufacturer with the same this thing is sorry, this is not a line. 1% harmonic distortion पे you can say it's about a competitor ने 900 and something generate किया. So well, if something that's generating 950 watts is at 1% harmonic distortion is mentioned as 1400 watts, I mean ours is not that bad. Moving forward, again you can see the same thing at I'll just remove these drawings, but it's at 4 ohm. And then an interesting thing is that 2 ohm. 2 ohm पे आप देख सकते हैं ये जो amplifier का rating है, it just races into harmonic distortion. तो मतलब maybe it generates 2000 watts, but maybe it means 10% harmonic distortion जो tolerable नहीं है. This is what I was speaking about when I'm talking about amplifiers, because 2 ohms पे बहुत जैसे आप speaker को और parallel में connect, lot of people ask me what are ohms. So ohm is आपका speaker का load is in ohms. So जैसे आप speaker और connect करते जाते हैं parallel में, उसका impedance drop होते जाता है. So as the impedance keeps dropping, it's a load which is not easy to control. It's almost like a nearing almost zero, जो almost short circuit की तरह है. So you can't आप parallel में amplifier speakers तो सिर्फ connect करते नहीं जा सकते कि you keep adding in parallel and keep dropping this thing. So lot of amplifiers I know that have a lot of limitations. They publish the specification at maybe 2 ohms, but they don't mention the harmonic distortion that's actually generating. So a well-designed amplifier is giving actual measurement information for your amplifier. Again, I don't recommend, मैं recommend नहीं करता हूँ कि आप 2 ohm पे amplifier को चलाएं, but it's an odd case that sometimes that you may need to drive it at 2 ohms. I know some amplifiers are extremely stable, but it also affects to some extent your performance on your speakers. Like I said, this is the minimum impedance of your amplifier. ये आपका amplifier का minimum impedance है. जैसे आप amplifier को और parallel में add करते जाएंगे, इसका impedance drop होते जाएगा. So a conventional speaker is usually about 8 ohms. So as you go lower, तो आपका impedance कम होते जाएगा. There's more current and greater the load, and the power requirement is increased. And if you raise the impedance, less current, smaller load, and decreased power. तो आपका जो speaker का ohms है या load है, make sure it's within the range the amplifier is designed to operate. आपका अगर amplifier के specification में लिखा है कि it can function at that, and if it's a good manufacturer, maybe it can. So उसके नीचे आप कभी जाइएगा मत. And I'll pick up one of the amplifiers specification sheet and we'll try and understand what are the different power ratings shortly, and it should not take more than the next 10 minutes. So 10 minutes we should be done, and I'll just quickly go through the remaining specifications. So harmonic distortion क्या है? So हमने देखा है कि इनपुट और आउटपुट के बीच में अगर कोई भी अलग नया लेवल आया, it's known as distortion. We want amplifiers to be very linear, transparent. We don't want any new component to be introduced in the output. So harmonic distortion is the result of addition of frequencies not originally found. अगर दो frequencies suppose 100 hertz and maybe 50 hertz, वो combine होके एक नया frequency एक 100 hertz का मैं signal दूँ और उसमें 200 hertz generate हुआ या 400 hertz generate हुआ. There are multiples of 100 hertz, and this is called harmonics, like how you have second harmonic, third harmonic, fourth harmonic, जो कि multiplier है original fundamental के. तो जैसे हम एम्पलीफायर में फ्रीक्वेंसी इंट्रोड्यूस करते हैं, उसके जो मल्टीपल्स जनरेट हो जाते हैं, यू नो, फॉर वेरियस रीजंस व्हिच वी आर नॉट गोइंग टू गेट इनटू नाउ, फॉर वेरियस रीजन जो अलग अलग फ्रीक्वेंसीज जनरेट होते हैं ऑफ दैट यू नो इनपुट सिग्नल दैट वी आर गिविंग, जो आउटपुट में हम लोग को वो मल्टीपल्स मिलते हैं, वो हार्मोनिक डिस्टॉर्शन है. एंड ये उसका टोटल लेवल जो हार्मोनिक डिस्टॉर्शन का, एंड यू नो डिवाइडेड बाय द लेवल ऑफ द ओरिजिनल सिग्नल विल गिव यू द क्वांटिटी ऑफ टोटल हार्मोनिक डिस्टॉर्शन. सो ये समथिंग दैट कम्स इन अ स्पेसिफिकेशन शीट दैट सेइंग दैट दिस इज माय हार्मोनिक डिस्टॉर्शन. ये आप देख सकते हैं कि आई हैव इंट्रोड्यूस्ड अ 100 हर्ट्ज हार्मोनिक सिग्नल and I'm getting output on my this thing as 200 hertz, maybe somewhere around 300 hertz, 400 hertz, 500 hertz. So 200, 300, 400, 500 पे हम लोग को अलग से कुछ लेवल मिले. This is all distortion. ये हमने input signal में नहीं था, and this is when the you know harmonic distortion is less than 1%. This is something greater than 1%. जो अगर distortion level अगर amplifier का you know design अच्छा नहीं है, तो you're going to get levels greater than 1%. Intermodulation distortion, it's again another type of distortion जो कि जो दो frequency combine होके एक तीसरा frequency produce करती है, जो originally frequency जो उसके amplifier के response में नहीं था. It's again a more complicated way of measuring IMD. IMD का full form है intermodulation distortion. There's a testing procedure by the SMPTE. SMPTE का full form है Society of Motion Pictures and Television